In my line of work, I know more scaffolders jump around back and forth, and the reason they're jumping back and forth between Clack and Union is who has work for me to be home every night? Because I refuse to go out of town. Do I agree with it from a union standpoint? No. Do I understand it as a family man who doesn't want to leave his kids and miss opportunities? I get it. It kind of fucking shoots us in the foot too.
Shoots them themselves in the foot a little bit when it comes to pensions at the end, but young people don't think about pensions. I didn't think about pensions. I didn't give a shit about my pension. I didn't, until I started realizing how much it was growing. And I saw those annual reports. Nobody opens their mail from the pension fund. But as you get older, you start to realize, and the career goes by fast. Like, you're no spring chicken anymore either, right? Like, it goes by fast. And so I hear you saying that they just want to go where the work is and they want to stay home. I was the same way. Young kids, I gave up all that big overtime money during the boom to work in Calgary and take that role as coordinator. I took a pay cut. I took a pay cut leaving rebar as a foreman to do precast to change my life. But it was about staying at home more and not having to go out of town. And I totally understand that. And family values are more important than union values. I'll give you that right now. I would do anything for my family. You would too. I know that we're passionate.
Come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water, except I wouldn't work union. Even if it was to pay the bills, I would find something else. I hear what you're saying and I get those people and I don't begrudge them that. The passion I have for pensions and benefits and union protection for workers, it's not to say that those people are assholes for not having it. It's because I think they deserve it. They should come over and get it.
So we're gonna go off of unions serve their purpose. Unions are greedy. They only care about themselves, their pensions, the companies, stuff like this, okay? And this was mostly within Alberta that I see these comments. You've been in the union world a lot longer than me, almost 3 times as long as I have. I'm fucking just learning this shit. I've been learning more about the union really since my time in Fort McMurray, getting back into it, talking with people like yourself. And that's how I'm educating myself. I could probably do more by reading the Constitution, but if I'm gonna be fucking honest, that shit is goddamn boring. So I find that stuff not appealing. It doesn't entertain me. It's hard to focus. That's not my thing. My thing though is talking with people and learning this way. That stimulates me. You were saying in the 1950s, this was a hard union country at one point, right?
The country itself and North America in general after the war unionized. That's when if you look around at the houses that were built, that's when people were union. They were union at Safeway. They were union in the post office. They were union on the construction sites. There was that mentality that we need to put away for the future. We've gone through a terrible time. And so labor across the world has always been cyclical, where you have strong labor and people are doing well, and then generally the unions screw it up and then it comes down back into a trough. People forget the importance of it. We go totally non-union and the worker gets abused, and then they start to organize and they come back and they go back up. And inevitably, when you're at the peak, something goes wrong to drive you down into the bottom, whether it's unfettered capitalism, whether it is poor behavior by union officials. Realistically, we have been the makers of our own demise at times. We've made mistakes here. There's been mistakes made in this province by previous leadership, by current leadership, by all of us. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So we have made mistakes, don't get me wrong.
What are we doing to rectify some of the wrongs and try and re-earn that trust of these members that maybe we pushed away to get them to come back?
In this new era of construction, and a lot of our boomer and later Gen X members don't want to hear this, we have to operate in a place where we can get along with contractors. We are on the outside looking in right now because our market share is not above 50%. We need to find out what it's going to take for us to get back on these job sites and show workers the value of what we can bring, and show employers how we are going to help them make money, not cost them money. This position that I'm in right now as the business development type person for the building trades never existed in the past. We didn't need to. The previous leadership before us got handed everything to them. They needed workers in Fort McMurray, and so all the workers fled up there to make the big money. Those union dues were coming in. They didn't have to worry about organizing commercial companies doing high-rises downtown Edmonton. They didn't have to worry about the piping in a hospital. If we lost that, we lost it because we were still bringing in money from McMurray. The migration of people up to the oil sands to do industrial work cost us commercial contractors across the province. It's a tragedy. We used to have so many smaller union companies. And the best part was union ironworkers, union pipe fitters starting union businesses and bringing their kids and people into the trades. That was the golden era. We want to get back to a place when the contractor and the unions came up with a contract that the owners would support. That's where we need to get to again. We've been making concessions. Previous leaders, previous building trades people, previous construction labor relations that negotiate with the building trades, we made mistakes. And now it's time to atone for those mistakes, change it, get back on these job sites and start having agreements again that work for the industry. That doesn't mean cutting wages. It means finding that balance of what's going to work where we don't have to make these special project needs agreements. It's just not it doesn't build trust with members and their unions.
This is a great topic, and I have tried to stay away from this one a lot because of who I am a part of. So me being with 1325, being with United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Allied Workers, what is the difference between CLAC and 1999? And how is 1999 different from a local such as 1325?
1999 is a version of a union that the carpenters brought out to combat CLAC. I am, and I'll make up a term, a progressive traditionalist. I agree that things have to change in order to adapt to society. But I also believe in an ironworker is an ironworker, a pipe fitter is a pipe fitter, a carpenter is a carpenter / scaffolder, and that we should stay in our lanes to better add to the improvement of the trades, the specialization of the trades, and the ability to sell your skills for the highest dollar. That's what I believe in. Wall-to-wall agreements. Wall-to-wall can also be interpreted across the board in other jurisdictions without trade regs as jacks of all trades. So in the morning, you can put together the forming, then you can put the rebar in, pour the concrete, screed it. Oh, and then if you go help the electrician and do that. So now you know a little bit about everything, and that's how it's predominantly done in other countries like South America. And talk about the wages in South America. Our specialization is our strength. Your ability as an electrician to be able to wire in huge panels and do that stuff safely and not blow things up is your value. Your ability to bend pipe that actually looks amazing, like artwork, your conduit that you're going to run your wire through, is your strength, is what you can trade your labor for money. That's how it works. When you start to degrade and water those things down, you don't benefit the tradesperson. You benefit the company who can pay less because you're not as good at one thing, but you can muddle your way through a bunch of things. And so I'm not trying to cost those companies money. What I'm saying in my progressive traditionalism is that we need to make sure that you, as an electrician, know how to be a good electrician. Spend your time being an electrician. Get to be a master electrician by spending your time being an electrician and not trying to get into other trades where you're taking someone else's jurisdiction. So 1999 was an idea put forward by the carpenters to do wall-to-wall to combat CLAC. To follow through with this, it has caused animosity across the trades and to different levels across the country. It is causing problems with the unions across the way. So there is some tension there.
So when you're saying animosity or it's causing tensions, is it because they're trying to combat CLAC so much that they're adopting some of the ideals that CLAC has, such as having multiple trades under their organization?
Yes, I think that that's part of it. The animosity, I think, becomes in the rollout of the plan. It doesn't breed well for trying to work together as a group to bring labor back because every province wants to have market share. Every group of unions that comes together under the building trade flag wants to get more market share. That's the goal. When you start putting divisions and threats and fears inside of that want to grow market share because you think you have a better idea, and from an outsider's view it's not working and you're not communicating that to anyone else, it breeds contempt, and it breeds a challenging place to sit around the table, because realistically the building trades is the managers that agree to stick together in the province, coming together to discuss like issues, to talk about negotiations, to talk about working conditions, to talk about what can we do. We're not some cabal that tells them how to negotiate. We don't tell, like, I'm just an iron worker that works for the building trades. We bring people together so that we can do best for what's good for our workers that are in our unions. When that gets challenged by something like 1999 that's outside of the building trades, it breeds nervousness. There's not a lot of communication coming. We've reached out, we haven't heard back, and it just breeds a fight. The carpenters represented in the province of Alberta are 1325 and 2103 under the DC, District Council. Okay. They've been coming to the meetings, they participate, they talk to us. So, like I said, it's not that we don't want to be informed. It's not that we don't want to work together. Hopefully their vision at 1999 is to grow market share. When you start talking about looking at wall-to-wall agreements in the province where what we call registered trades exist, it just breeds animosity, and the communication has been very limited. And so, like all things in the House of Labor, we want to keep it inside and work together on it. It's just had some major hurdles right now. Across the country, carpenters are leaving the building trades. We don't want to see that happen. We are here as the House of Labor for private unions to do what's best for the workers.